Today we're announcing that a cold case homicide dating back a quarter of a century has been solved. Solving this crime took perseverance from law enforcement, in particular, extraordinary commitment by one retired detective, the dedication of a cold case team, and cooperation between 3 law enforcement agencies who never gave up hope of delivering justice. It took a leap of faith from California's Department of Justice, and it took leveraging the very latest advances in cutting-edge DNA technology. Ultimately, it was something called familial DNA testing that provided us with key information that eventually solved the murder of 84-year-old Angela Kleinsorge. Miss Kleinsorge was found raped and murdered in San Diego in her home in February of 1992. She died from multiple stab wounds to the neck area. During the investigation, regular DNA testing was done, but it did not match any individuals in a statewide database. But in July of 2016, the case was submitted by the San Diego Police Department and the District Attorney's Office to the Department of Justice with a request for familial DNA testing. Familial DNA allows us to search offender databases with wider parameters, identifying people who are likely to be close relatives of the person who may have committed the crime. Increasingly, familial DNA is a valuable tool in law enforcement's toolbox when a case goes cold and all leads have been exhausted. The familial DNA results from Ms. Kleinsorge's murder did match a convicted criminal, but he was deceased. However, the familial DNA typing showed there was a high likelihood that the murderer was actually a brother of the deceased convict. It was determined through further investigation there was one living brother and another brother who was killed in a motorcycle accident. With the assistance of the FBI, San Diego PD was able to obtain DNA samples from the living brother, and he was eliminated as a suspect. San Diego PD lab criminalist Adam Dautre, where is Adam? There he is in the back. Adam is here with us today. Received tissue samples from the coroner from the other brother, Jeffrey Falls, who was killed in 2006 at the age of 42 in a motorcycle accident. The crime lab was able to obtain a partial DNA profile from the deceased suspect's tissue that matched the crime scene sample, pointing to Falls as the murderer. This is a bit technical, but the likelihood ratio for kinship between the crime scene sample and Falls is in the quadrillions, further evidence that led law enforcement to the conclusion that the case had been solved. While the man responsible for this heinous crime is not alive to be held accountable, the results of this testing still brings a measure of closure to the victim's family more than 2 decades after her murder.